Real reason behind Paul Heyman's absence after SummerSlam. Triple H is elated after WWE personality re-signs with the company. WWE heel possibly turning face at Clash at the Castle. Drew McIntyre shows brutal photos of his body after assault by Roman Reigns on SmackDown. Cody Rhodes returning to dethrone Roman Reigns. Triple H's plans to change WWE champion. Let's jump right into our first story. Triple H is elated after WWE personality re-signs with the company. WWE head of creative Triple H shared his excitement over NXT commentator Wade Barrett re-signing with the company. Wade Barrett made his main roster debut with the other contestants of NXT as the Nexus. The faction proved to be one of the most dominant factions in all of WWE. He has also won the Intercontinental Championship 5 times and the 2015 King of the Ring tournament. Barrett is currently part of the commentary team of NXT alongside Vic Joseph. Shawn Michaels recently took to Twitter to announce that the 5-time Intercontinental Champion had re-signed with the company. Triple H retweeted and mentioned his pride in having Barrett on his team. Proud to have Stu Bennett on our broadcasting team and looking forward to many more years of working together. #WWE NXT, the game wrote. Upon reading the game's tweet, Wade Barrett thanked him. "Thank boss. Thrilled to be on the team. Onwards and upwards. #WWE NXT, he replied. One fan replied to Barrett's tweet, appreciating his work with fellow commentator Vic Joseph. Fans didn't forget to appreciate Triple H taking over the creative of WWE. Wade Barrett has not wrestled since 2016. He decided to take a break from wrestling to pursue a career in acting. In a recent interview with BT Sports, Barrett addressed the possibility of returning to the squared circle and mentioned fans might see a return if the right opportunity presents itself at his door. Do you think Wade Barrett made the right choice by re-signing with WWE? Let us know in the comments section below. WWE heel possibly turning face at Clash at the Castle. Vince Russo has given his thoughts on the upcoming Intercontinental Championship match between Gunther and Sheamus at WWE Clash at the Castle. The European stars are due to go one-on-one in a televised match for the first time in Cardiff, Wales, on September 3rd. Both men currently perform as heels on SmackDown, prompting speculation that WWE could turn one of them into a babyface. Russo was WWE's head writer in the late 1990s when Raw regularly drew huge television audiences. On Sportskeeda Wrestling's Writing with Russo show, he explained why Gunther must retain his title at the event. "You've got to put Gunther over," Russo said. "You have to put him over. The real way to do it is if they're both heels, is for them to have a freaking war with Gunther going over and Sheamus giving him kudos. They're two really bad people and he got the best of him. That's really the right way to do it." The one-time WCW World Heavyweight Champion added that Sheamus could possibly become a babyface moments after the match. If you want to add insult to injury, when Sheamus kinda gives him the pat on the back, let Gunther say, "I don't need your," Russo continued. Then at that point you could turn Sheamus babyface if you want. The August 19th episode of SmackDown featured a fatal 5-way match between Happy Corbin, Madcap Moss, Ricochet, Sami Zayn, and Sheamus. With the Montreal fans behind him, hometown favorite Zayn looked on course to win the match at one point. However, Sheamus ultimately picked up the victory after pinning Corbin. As a result of his win, the Celtic Warrior now has his sights set on capturing the Intercontinental Championship for the first time. Will Gunther or Sheamus leave Clash at the Castle with the title? Let us know in the comments section. Real reason behind Paul Heyman's absence after SummerSlam. A backstage report has emerged on Paul Heyman's absence from WWE TV following his SummerSlam 2022 appearance. At SummerSlam this year, Roman Reigns successfully defended his undisputed WWE Universal Championship against Brock Lesnar in a last man standing match. During the contest, the Beast Incarnate hit a devastating F5 on Reigns' special counsel, Heyman, sidelining him from television for the next few weeks. On the latest edition of Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer shared backstage notes on Paul Heyman's WWE absence. As per Meltzer, the intent is to make it look like Heyman is recovering from his injuries after taking an F5 from Lesnar, putting the move over in the process. A veteran journalist also stated that when Heyman finally makes a return to WWE TV, it's going to be a surprise. If Meltzer's report is accurate, WWE won't be announcing Heyman's eventual return, and he will likely appear out of the blue. Paul Heyman and Lesnar go a long way back. The former ECW owner was on Lesnar's side when the latter made his WWE debut in 2002. Months later, Heyman turned on Lesnar and suffered the consequences soon after. Lesnar hit an explosive F5 on Heyman in a steel cage match pitting the duo back in March 2003. Lesnar took a hiatus from WWE after his WWE Championship loss to Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania 36 2 years ago. In his absence, Paul Heyman joined forces with Roman Reigns on WWE SmackDown. When the Beast returned to WWE at SummerSlam 2021, he eyed Reigns' Universal Championship. The duo kicked off a lengthy feud that finally ended at SummerSlam 2022, with Reigns leaving with both the WWE and Universal titles. Heyman, on the other hand, didn't exactly have a great night. Reigns is all set to defend his undisputed WWE Universal Championship against Drew McIntyre at the upcoming Clash at the Castle event. Heyman will likely make his WWE return at the event and stand firmly at ringside to support his tribal chief. Triple H's plans to change WWE championships. Triple H has perhaps taken his most important role in WWE to date as the head of creative. We have already seen multiple changes, but more are expected to be made on the main roster regarding the existing championships. Championships in WWE have had to undergo some major changes. The Universal, Intercontinental, and US Championship have all undergone drastic design changes, and not all were necessarily well received. It should be noted that the NXT titles also underwent a change at some point a few years ago. It appears that Triple H feels like a big change is needed for some of the title belts. According to Dan Beltzer, known as Belt Fan Dan on Twitter, the game is planning numerous belt design changes. For those unaware of Belt Fan Dan, he has made several reports in the past about title design changes. One such report was that of the United States Champion. The report was made over 7 months before the new design was eventually implemented. Championships are just one of many things that Triple H will likely change. So far, the creative direction of Raw and SmackDown has drastically changed, with new superstars being pushed to the forefront. There are different stars benefiting from the new regime, and this includes all the returning names who were either released or whose contracts were expired. Fans have high expectations for the new creative regime of WWE and believe that the King of Kings will move in the direction that fans want to push younger and newer superstars and change the ways of old programming and pattern. It will be interesting to see what WWE has in store for new belt design. Are you excited about the reported changes? Sound off in the comments below. Drew McIntyre shows brutal photos of his body after assault by Roman Reigns on SmackDown. Drew McIntyre didn't have the best night on SmackDown. While he walked out victorious, he suffered in the end when he was ambushed in a 4-on-1 situation. Following the brutal assault by Roman Reigns, the two-time WWE champion received some bruises on his body, and it was posted on Twitter. Things were going okay for Drew McIntyre as he defeated Sami Zayn in a solid main event on SmackDown. However, Roman Reigns and the Usos ambushed him, and Zayn joined in for the assault. It was a calculated move by the tribal chief to weaken his opponent ahead of the big and disputed WWE Universal Championship at Clash at the Castle. On Twitter post SmackDown, WWE posted 2 photos of McIntyre's body, showcasing exactly how brutal the attack on him was. Drew McIntyre was ambushed and hit with repeated chair shots by Roman Reigns just a little over a week before their bout at Clash at the Castle. Many believe that the Scottish Warrior will be the one to dethrone Reigns, although there are doubts about that as well. Either way, the timing would be perfect as Reigns is days away from celebrating 2 years as the undisputed Universal Champion. As the rivalry develops, only time will tell what happens next. Who do you think will be the one to defeat Reigns? Sound off in the comments below. Cody Rhodes returning to dethrone Roman Reigns. Former WWE manager Dutch Mantel feels that Drew McIntyre may not be winning the undisputed WWE Universal Championship from Roman Reigns at Clash at the Castle. The Scottish Warrior collided with Sami Zayn on the latest episode of SmackDown. McIntyre won the match after hitting the Claymore on Sami but fell victim to a brutal beatdown by the Bloodline. Reigns took out his challenger, sending a message to the WWE Universe that he was still in charge of the blue brand. On the weekly SmackDown review show, Smack Talk, Mantel stated that the chances of Drew dethroning Roman looked slim. He reasoned that with Survivor Series coming up, a returning Cody Rhodes could be the right man for the job. I don't think he's losing either. If I were going to put that belt on somebody, I don't think I'd put it on McIntyre right now. I think he's missing something. I think they pushed him. I just don't see it. Survivor Series is coming up. I think still Cody Rhodes is sitting back there if they're gonna push him, Mantel said. The veteran also shared his predictions for the main event of Clash at the Castle. Since you're putting percentages on it, I'm gonna go Roman retains 70% versus 30. The tribal chief has been the single most dominant force in WWE over the last couple of years. Since winning the Universal title at Backlash, Reigns, along with the rest of the Bloodline, has managed to reign supreme on the island of relevancy. Next week, the head of the table will celebrate the completion of 2 years as champion. The show was taped this Friday at the Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, Michigan, since a large part of the roster will be traveling across to the UK to attend the Clash at the Castle. It will be interesting to see how the celebrations pan out and whether McIntyre decides to gatecrash the party. What do you think of Roman Reigns' 2-year run at the top of WWE? Sound off in the comments below.
Time I'ma live up, head down, push forward through the tough times. 'Cause anything worth doing is a tough time. 'Cause I'ma live life for the fight, yeah, I'm here to get it. I got drive, got sight, always have a vision. I go by at night, I be in my feelings, I'ma be fine.